I should have known something was wrong when he ordered champagne. Daryl never drinks champagne. He's a Scotchman through and through. But there I sat, at LeBlanc, wearing the black dress he'd specifically requested, watching him fidget with his collar, while the waiter poured Veuve Clicquot into delicate flutes. My name is Ellie, and this is the story of how my husband of 8 years chose our anniversary dinner to publicly destroy our marriage, and how I made him regret every calculated moment of it. To us, he said, raising his glass. His smile didn't reach his eyes. I'd seen that smile before, usually right before he closed a major deal. 8 wonderful years. I clinked glasses, studying his face. You seem nervous, darling. Everything okay at the office? Actually, he reached into his suit jacket. There's something we need to discuss. The manila envelope he placed between us looked so innocent. Just paper and glue, really. But I knew instantly what it was. I'd prepared enough legal documents in my life to recognize court filings. Here? Now? I kept my voice steady. Even as my stomach dropped, I thought a public place would be best. He actually had the audacity to sound concerned. You can be intense sometimes. I laughed. I couldn't help it. Intense? I built half our company while being intense. About that, he slid the envelope closer. The company's future is actually part of why this needs to happen now. My hands didn't shake as I opened the envelope. They were steady as a surgeon's while I read the divorce petition, the preliminary asset division, the restraining order keeping me from entering our offices. Everything dated 2 weeks ago. Everything meticulously planned. The board meeting's tomorrow, I said quietly. You're pushing me out before the merger announcement. It's better this way, Ellie. Clean break. You'll get a generous settlement. Generous. I looked up from the papers. You're offering me 20% of a company I helped build from nothing. That's not generous, Daryl. That's theft. He leaned forward, lowering his voice. Don't make a scene. People are watching. Of course they were watching. He'd chosen LeBlanc deliberately, where half our business associates dined regularly, where everyone knew us as the power couple behind Mack and Davis Consulting, where my public humiliation would spread through the industry grapevine before dessert. I smiled, channeling every lesson my mother ever taught me about composure. You really think you've thought of everything, don't you? The papers are solid. Edward made sure. Edward, I cut in. Our CFO, Edward. How long has he been helping you plan this? Daryl's silence was answer enough. I stood up slowly, smoothing my dress. The dress he'd insisted I wear, probably wanted me to look my best for my own execution. You know what the funny thing is? I actually thought you were planning something special tonight. 8 years of marriage, 5 years of building our company. I thought you were going to surprise me. Ellie. Oh, you surprised me all right. I picked up my champagne flute. To new beginnings, darling. I didn't throw the champagne in his face. That would have been expected. Predictable. Instead, I drank it slowly, savoring every bubble, every eye in the restaurant watching us. Then I set the glass down with a soft clink. You'll regret this, I said, voice barely above a whisper. Not today, not tomorrow, but soon, you'll understand exactly what you've done. I walked out of LeBlanc with my head high, the divorce papers left untouched on the table. Let him squirm, wondering why I didn't take them. At home, I kicked off my heels and went straight to my office. Behind the vintage Monet print hung a safe. One Daryl didn't know about, one containing 8 years of documents I'd been collecting, just in case. Because here's the thing about being called intense. It makes you paranoid. It makes you keep records. And as I pulled out the first file, I smiled, remembering something my father once told me. The best revenge isn't served cold. It's served with paperwork. Time to get to work. Jesus Christ, Ellie. Stella's hands trembled as she spread the documents across her kitchen table. How long have you been collecting these? I watched my former mentor examine contract after contract, her reading glasses perched on her nose. Stella's house smelled like coffee and old books, exactly as I remembered from when she'd first hired me fresh out of business school. Since the day Daryl suggested we merge our client lists, I said, pouring us both more coffee. Something felt off about how quickly he wanted to move. Smart girl. Stella held up a contract from 3 years ago. Look at this, the ownership percentages were altered after signing. See how the ink's slightly different? I nodded. He's been slowly diluting my stake for years, but I kept the originals. In that secret safe of yours. Stella's eyes twinkled. The one behind the Monet. You knew about that. Honey, I'm the one who suggested you install it. Never trust anyone completely in this business, not even your husband. A knock at the door made us both jump. Stella waved me toward her study while she answered it. I gathered the documents quickly, listening. Mia, Stella's voice carried. What are you doing here? My assistant's familiar voice responded. Is Ellie here? I need to talk to her. It's important. I stepped out of the study. Mia stood in the doorway, clutching her laptop bag, looking like she hadn't slept. How did you know where to find me? Because I know you, Mia said. And I know when you need answers, you go to Stella. She pulled out her phone, showing me a text. Daryl's calling an emergency board meeting for tomorrow morning. He's going to announce your voluntary resignation due to personal issues. That bastard, Stella muttered. There's more, Mia continued. I've been backing up files for months. Things didn't add up in the quarterly reports. The numbers Edward was presenting, they're not real.
I exchanged looks with Stella. Show me. Mia opened her laptop on the kitchen table, pulling up spreadsheets. See these consulting fees? They're being paid to shell companies. I tracked 3 of them. They all lead back to accounts in the Cayman Islands. Classic embezzlement, Stella said, leaning in. How much? Millions, Mia whispered. And that's just what I could find. I touched Mia's shoulder. Why are you showing me this? You could lose your job. Because you gave me my first real chance, she said fiercely. When everyone else saw a college dropout, you saw potential. I'm not letting Daryl destroy you. She reached into her bag and pulled out a flash drive. Legal copies of everything. I've been collecting insurance just in case. My hands closed around the drive. Mia, this is dangerous. If Daryl finds out, he won't. She stood straighter. I learned from the best how to cover my tracks. Stella cleared her throat. We need a plan. The board meeting's tomorrow, and Daryl's got Edward backing his story. 2 against 1. 3 against 2, Mia corrected. I'm not going anywhere. I plugged the flash drive into my laptop, scanning through files. Contracts, emails, photos. Wait. I clicked on an image folder. What are these? Mia grimaced. Security camera stills from the office. Late-night meetings with Edward and some woman I don't recognize. They're dated last month.
I know her, Stella said sharply. That's Helen McDonald, your mother. The coffee cup slipped from my hand, shattering on the floor. My mother, who I hadn't spoken to in years, meeting secretly with my husband and CFO. Ellie? Mia touched my arm. You're shaking. I'm fine. I wasn't fine. We need to move fast. Mia, can you get me access to the presentation files for tomorrow's meeting? She nodded. Already done. They're on the drive. Good. I started gathering the documents. Stella, I need you to make some calls. Find out who else knew about these offshore accounts. What are you going to do? Stella asked. I thought about Daryl's smug face at dinner, about my mother's secret meetings, about years of careful manipulation. I'm going to that board meeting, I said. But first, I need to pay my dear mother a visit. Mia's phone buzzed. Her face went pale as she read the message. Ellie, Daryl just sent an all-staff email. He's announcing your departure today, right now. The game was starting sooner than expected. Good thing I play better under pressure. The funeral home smelled like fake flowers and regret. I hadn't planned on attending Dad's memorial service. Hadn't even known about it until Mia forwarded me the obituary. But here I was, standing in the back, watching my mother hold court among the mourners, like some sort of grief queen. I didn't think you'd come, I turned to find my sister Allison beside me, looking better than she had in years. Sobriety suited her. I almost didn't. Mom's been asking about you. I bet she has. I nodded toward where our mother stood, with a group of Dad's old business partners, especially since she's been having secret meetings with my soon-to-be ex-husband. Allison's sharp intake of breath told me everything. You know about those? You did too, apparently. Ellie. She grabbed my arm, pulling me into an empty side room. There's something you need to know about Mom and Daryl. The room was small, probably used for private grieving. Ironic, considering what came next. I overheard them, Allison said, pacing. Last year, at Christmas, when you were stuck at that conference in Boston, Mom was telling Daryl he needed to act fast to separate you from the company leadership before you took everything. The world tilted slightly. Our mother helped him plan this. She said you were too much like Dad, too honest, too trusting. Allison's laugh was bitter. She actually said you'd thank them both later, once you understood business isn't about fairness. When were you going to tell me this? I tried calling, but you blocked my number after that fight about rehab. Remember? I did remember. I'd accused her of manipulating Dad for money again. She'd accused me of being just like Mom. Cold, controlling, never believing people could change. I'm sorry, I said quietly, about the rehab thing. You proved me wrong. Yeah, well, she smiled slightly. Turns out, rock bottom is a great teacher. A commotion from the main room drew our attention. Mom's voice carried through the door. Of course Ellie's not here. She's too busy destroying her marriage to honor her father. That's rich, Allison muttered, considering she helped destroy it. I straightened my jacket. Time to say hello to Mother. The main room fell silent as I walked in. Mom's perfectly composed face cracked for just a second before recovering. Ellie, darling, what a surprise. Hello, Mother. I kissed her cheek, feeling her stiffen. We need to talk about your meetings with Daryl. She grabbed my arm, nails digging in. Not here. Why not? Dad's dead. No one to disappoint anymore. You're making a scene, she hissed. No, you made the scene when you helped my husband steal my company. I raised my voice slightly, ensuring everyone could hear. Did Dad know you were planning that, or did you wait until he was too sick to stop you? Everything I did was to protect you. From what? Success? Independence? Love? From being weak, she spat the words. Like your father, always putting principles before profit. I taught Daryl what you never learned. Sometimes you have to be cruel to win. The room was dead silent now. I smiled, channeling her own icy precision back at her. You taught him well, Mother, but you forgot something important. And what's that? You taught me too. I pulled out my phone, stopping the recording, and I learned every lesson. Her face went white. Behind her, Allison covered her mouth, eyes wide. That's why Daryl married me, isn't it? I continued. Because you told him I was just like you, capable of anything to win. I leaned closer. You were right about one thing. I am capable of anything. But I'm not like you. I'm like Dad. I believe in justice. You wouldn't dare use that recording, she said. I'm your mother. Watch me. I turned to leave, then stopped. Oh, and Mother, check your email. I just forwarded you Daryl's offshore account details, the ones you helped him set up. The IRS will be very interested in those. I walked out of the funeral home with Allison beside me. In my purse, my phone buzzed with a text from Mia. Found something big. Come quick. Need backup? Allison asked. I looked at my sister, really looked at her, for the first time in years. Actually, yes. Want to help me take down a corrupt CEO? She grinned. Thought you'd never ask. As we drove away, I realized something. Revenge doesn't always look like you expect. Sometimes it looks like truth. Sometimes it looks like justice. And sometimes it looks like family coming back together over the ashes of what was lost. Holy shit, Allison whispered, staring at Mia's laptop screen. Is that really? Yep, Mia clicked through more photos. Daryl with at least 3 different junior associates, all taken in his office after hours, all women who mysteriously got promoted or transferred shortly after. We were huddled in Stella's home office, reviewing the contents of Mia's flash drive. Each new folder revealed another layer of Daryl's corruption. "Look at these receipts," I said, pointing to a spreadsheet. "Private jets, luxury hotels, all billed as client meetings, but charged to shell companies." Stella adjusted her reading glasses. "The dates match those offshore transfers we found. He was laundering company money through fake business expenses." My phone buzzed. Daryl's name lighting up the screen. "Speaking of the devil, answer it," Allison said. But first, she pulled out her own phone, opening a recording app. I put the call on speaker. "Hello, darling. Ellie." His voice was honey smooth. "I've been thinking about our situation. Maybe we can work something out." "Really? After serving me divorce papers at LeBlanc?" "That was poorly handled, I admit it. But you have to understand, this merger is crucial for the company's future." I caught Mia's eye as she frantically gestured at her screen. She'd pulled up an email chain between Daryl and Edward, discussing how to hide certain transactions from the merger audit. "Tell me something, Daryl. Why did you really marry me?" He paused. "What kind of question is that?" "A simple one. Was it love? Or was it because you needed my client list and financial expertise?" "Ellie, you're being paranoid." "Am I? Because I'm looking at some interesting documents right now about how you approached my mother before we even started dating, about your plan to absorb my consulting practice." The line went quiet for a moment. When he spoke again, his voice had lost its smoothness. "Whatever you think you have, it won't hold up." Edward made sure. "Edward's not as thorough as he thinks." I nodded to Mia, who pulled up another file. "Did you know he keeps a personal diary on his work computer, very detailed about your little arrangements?" "You're bluffing." "Want me to read you the entry from March 15th? About how you both planned to dilute my shares through fake stock transfers?" "Damn it, Ellie. Or should we discuss the junior associates? Sarah from accounting, Rebecca from HR. I have security footage, Daryl. Lots of it." "What do you want?" he finally snapped. "I want what's mine. Full reinstatement, equal control." He laughed, ugly and sharp. "Never going to happen. The board won't allow it." "Then I guess I'll see you at tomorrow's seminar. I hear you're giving the keynote about company ethics. Should be fascinating." "You wouldn't dare. Watch me." I hung up. Allison stopped the recording, grinning. "Got him." "Not yet," Stella warned. "He's still dangerous, and he's got friends in high places." As if on cue, the office door opened. Edward stood there, face grim. "I was hoping I'd find you here." Mia slammed her laptop shut, but not before he saw what we were reviewing. "How did you get in?" Stella demanded. "Your housekeeper knows me." He stepped inside, closing the door. "Ellie, we need to talk." "About what? The fraud? The cover-ups? Or how you helped Daryl steal my company?" "About how you'll go down with him if any of this gets out." He pulled out a document. "You signed off on those quarterly reports too. As far as the SEC is concerned, you're equally liable." My blood ran cold. He was right. I'd trusted Daryl, signed whatever he put in front of me. "Unless," Edward continued. "Unless what?" "Unless you walk away now, take the settlement, start fresh." I looked around the room, at Mia's worried face, Allison's clenched fists, Stella's steady gaze, then back to Edward, standing there with his threats and his paperwork. "You know what your problem is, Edward." I stood up slowly. "You still think I'm the same trusting fool who signed those reports. I'm not. And tomorrow, everyone's going to learn exactly who I've become." "You'll regret this," he said, echoing my words to Daryl at LeBlanc. "No," I replied. "You will." After he left, Allison touched my arm. "What now?" I opened Mia's laptop again, starting a new presentation file. "Now, we prepare for the seminar of their lives." The whiskey burned going down. My third glass, or was it fourth? I'd lost count somewhere between reorganizing the evidence folders and obsessively checking the presentation slides for tomorrow. Ellie, Mia stood in my home office doorway, concern etched on her face. It's 2 a.m. Just perfecting the timing, I said, clicking through another slide. The shareholders need to see the bank transfers before I reveal the affair photos. Maximum impact. You need sleep. I need another drink. I reached for the bottle, but Mia got there first. No, you need to stop. She moved the whiskey out of reach. You're starting to sound like him. Like who? Like Daryl, calculating, cold, planning everyone's psychological breaking points. The words hit like a slap. I pushed back from my desk, standing too quickly. The room swayed. I am nothing like him. Really? Mia crossed her arms. Because the Ellie I know wouldn't be plotting to destroy people at 2 a.m. while drinking alone in the dark. The Ellie you know died at LeBlanc, I snapped, when her husband served her divorce papers over champagne.
No, she didn't. Mia stepped closer. She's just lost right now, and she's hurting, and she's turning into everything she hates because it feels safer than feeling the pain. My legs gave out. I sank back into my chair, the room spinning. I can't let them win. This isn't about winning anymore. Mia knelt beside me. Look at yourself. When's the last time you slept? 8? Called your sister back? Allison's called? 4 times today. She's worried about you. We all are. I looked at my desk. Papers everywhere, empty glass catching moonlight, laptop screen glowing with revenge plans. When had I become this person? I keep seeing his face, I whispered. At LeBlanc. So smug. So sure I'd just roll over and take it, like everyone always expected me to. So prove him wrong, Mia said. But prove him wrong by being better, not by becoming him. My phone buzzed. A text from Daryl. Last chance. Walk away now. I showed it to Mia. He thinks he's still in control. Isn't he? Look at what this revenge plotting is doing to you. What else am I supposed to do? My voice cracked. Let him take everything? No. You take him down, but you do it right. She stood up, gathering the scattered papers. You do it clean. Professional. No psychological warfare, no dramatic reveals. Just facts. Evidence. Truth. The truth? I laughed bitterly. The truth is I loved him. The truth is I trusted him. The truth is I'm an idiot who didn't see what was right in front of me. The truth, Mia said firmly, is that he's a fraud who picked the wrong woman to betray. And you're going to expose him because it's right, not because it hurts the most. She was right. God help me, she was right. I'd been so focused on making Daryl suffer that I'd started enjoying it, planning it, becoming it. My phone buzzed again. Allison. Hey sis, remember when Dad told us the best revenge is living well? Call me. The tears came then, hard, ugly sobs that had been building since that night at LeBlanc. Mia held me while I cried, while 8 years of marriage and betrayal poured out. When I could breathe again, she handed me a tissue. Better? No. I wiped my eyes. But clearer. Good. She started closing files on my laptop. Because tomorrow's too important for revenge porn. Tomorrow needs the real you, smart, professional, unstoppable. When did you get so wise? I learned from the best. She smiled. The real best, not this whiskey-drinking revenge monster you've been lately. I looked at the presentation I'd spent hours crafting for maximum psychological damage. Delete. Start over. Clean. Professional. True. Mia? Yeah? Thank you for not letting me become him. She squeezed my shoulder. That's what friends are for. Now go to bed. Tomorrow we take down a corrupt CEO the right way. The right way, I repeated, and for the first time in weeks, it felt like I could breathe again. Sometimes the hardest person to save yourself from is the person you become when you're hurt. But that's what friends are for. To hold up a mirror and say, this isn't you. The boardroom felt different now. Colder. 12 faces stared back at me, some confused, others hostile. Daryl sat at the head of the table, trying to hide his nervousness behind a practiced smile. "Mrs. Davis," he said formally, "you're not on the agenda today." "It's Ms. Mack, actually." I placed my laptop on the table. "And I think you'll want to hear what I have to say. We're in the middle of a meeting." "About the merger?" I connected my laptop to the projector. Perfect timing. Edward shifted uncomfortably. "This is inappropriate." "What's inappropriate?" I cut in. "Is using company funds to finance personal real estate ventures in the Cayman Islands." The room went silent. I pulled up the first document, a wire transfer receipt. $2 million, I said clearly. "Transferred from our operating account to a shell company called Sunrise Ventures. Would you like to explain that one, Edward?" He glanced at Daryl, who gave a slight head shake. "No? Then let me." I clicked through more documents. 6 shell companies, $15 million in diverted funds, all traced back to personal accounts held by Mr. Davis and Mr. Dunn. "These documents are fake," Daryl started, but board member Janet raised her hand. "Are these the discrepancies in the Q3 report I asked about?" "Yes." I nodded. "The ones you were told were consulting fees." The boardroom door opened. My mother walked in, perfectly composed as always. "I'm afraid this meeting needs to end." "Hello, Mother." I smiled. "Perfect timing. I was just about to show everyone your involvement." She froze. "You wouldn't dare." "Watch me." I clicked to the next slide. "Here's a recording of you advising Daryl how to structure the theft. And here's your signature on the offshore paperwork." "You recorded me at your father's funeral," she hissed. "Your own mother." "You helped steal my company at my father's funeral," I corrected. "My own mother." The boardroom phone rang. Daryl grabbed it like a lifeline. His face fell as he listened. "What?" he snapped. "When?" I knew what he was hearing. Right now, the SEC was walking into our satellite offices. Right now, Mia was providing them with copies of everything I was showing the board. "This isn't personal," I told the board. "This is about protecting our company, our clients, our reputation." "She's lying." Daryl tried one last time. "She's bitter about the divorce." "The divorce you served me at LeBlanc?" I raised an eyebrow. "The same night you were meeting with merger representatives to sell them a company you'd stripped of assets?" Janet stood up. "I've seen enough. I move for an immediate suspension of both Mr. Davis and Mr. Dunn, pending investigation." "Seconded," another board member said quickly. My mother moved toward the door, but I wasn't finished. "One more thing." I played the recording of Daryl's phone call, his admission of marrying me for my client list echoing through the room. The vote was unanimous. Security was called. Badges were collected. As Daryl was being escorted out, he grabbed my arm. "You've ruined everything." "No," I said quietly. "You did that yourself. I just exposed it." My mother paused at the door. "You'll regret this, Ellie. Family should protect family. You taught me that lesson too well, Mother. Just not the way you intended." After they left, Janet approached me. "We'll need you to stay on, help sort through this mess." "Of course." I gathered my things. "But first, I need to check on someone." I found Mia in her office, surrounded by SEC agents. She gave me a thumbs up as they collected files. My phone buzzed with a text from Allison. "Done at the satellite office. SEC has everything. But Ellie, Stella's in the hospital. Stress-induced stroke. She was being followed by Daryl's PI." The victory taste turned bitter in my mouth. I'd won the battle, but at what cost? How many more casualties would there be? Another text came through, this one from an unknown number. A photo of Stella in a hospital bed, followed by words that made my blood run cold. "You think this is over? It's just beginning. D." I stared at the phone, remembering Mia's words about becoming the thing you hate. But sometimes when they push you far enough, becoming that thing isn't a choice. It's survival. Time for Plan B. The annual company seminar buzzed with nervous energy. 500 employees filled the hotel ballroom, whispering about the board meeting drama, Daryl's suspension, the SEC investigation. I stood backstage, adjusting my microphone, watching Mia coordinate with the tech team. "Livestream is ready," she reported. "All regional offices connected." "And the other thing?" She nodded. "Police are standing by. Just give the signal." Allison appeared, tablet in hand. Mom's in the audience. Third row, looking smug. "She thinks I'm going to apologize," I said. "Try to save the company's reputation." Little does she know. Allison squeezed my hand. "You've got this, sis." The lights dimmed. Janet took the stage for introductions, her voice steady despite everything. And now, our keynote speaker, addressing recent changes and our path forward. Ellie Mack. Applause. Uncertain but polite. I walked out, feeling hundreds of eyes tracking my every move. Daryl's executive chair sat empty in the front row, a reminder of everything that had brought us here. "Good morning," I began. "We're here to talk about legacy." The first slide appeared. Our company logo. Clean, professional, just like Mia had advised. 8 years ago, I helped build this company on 3 core values: integrity, innovation, and trust. I clicked to the next slide. Today, I'm going to show you how those values were betrayed. Gasps as Daryl's offshore account details filled the screen. In the third row, my mother's smug smile faltered. "But this isn't just about money," I continued. "This is about power, control, the systematic abuse of trust. Security footage played. Daryl threatening employees, Edward shredding documents, my mother entering the building late at night. Some of you were forced to sign NDAs." I looked directly at Sarah from accounting, Rebecca from HR. "Those agreements are void as of now. The company releases you from any obligation to hide criminal behavior." Movement at the back doors. Police officers entered quietly, taking positions around the room. "Mr. Davis isn't here today because he's been suspended pending investigation. What you don't know is why." I played the recording of him admitting to marrying me for business advantages. This was personal for him. But what he did to this company, to all of you, that's criminal. The next slides showed proof of harassment, of threatened careers, of manipulated promotions. With each revelation, more people stood up, some crying, others nodding in validation. And to those who helped him, I locked eyes with my mother. "Your time of protection is over." On cue, more officers entered through the side doors. Edward, who'd snuck into the back of the room, tried to run. They caught him before he reached the exit. "Mom," I said into the microphone, "I believe those officers would like to speak with you as well." She stood, dignity intact even as she was led away. "You've destroyed this family." "No, Mother. You did that years ago. I'm just cleaning up the mess." The room erupted in chaos. Phones recording, people talking, security trying to maintain order. I held up my hand for silence. One last thing. I clicked to the final slide. A simple resignation letter. Effective immediately, I'm stepping down as CEO. Shocked murmurs filled the room. Mia's head snapped up backstage. "But before I go, I've transferred all evidence to federal authorities. Every employee affected by harassment or discrimination will receive compensation from a fund I've established. And the board has agreed to a complete restructuring, putting employee representatives in key positions." I unpinned my company badge, placing it on the podium. "This is your company now. Build it better than we did." As I turned to leave, Sarah stood up. Then Rebecca. Then others. The applause started slowly, building to a thunderous standing ovation. Backstage, Allison hugged me tight. "Dad would be proud." "Ms. Mack." A reporter pushed through the crowd. "What happens now?" I looked at the chaos unfolding. Police leading away conspirators, employees embracing. Years of secrets finally seeing light. Now? I smiled. Now I'm going to visit an old friend in the hospital. And then I'm going to sleep for about a week. The truth was, I didn't know what came next. But for the first time since that night at LeBlanc, I felt clean. Free. Sometimes winning isn't about destroying your enemies. Sometimes it's about setting the truth free and walking away. Stella's hospital room was quiet except for the steady beep of monitors. She looked smaller in the bed, but her eyes were sharp as ever when I walked in. "About time you showed up," she said, patting the chair beside her. "I've been watching the news. Quite a show you put on. I learned from the best." I sat down, taking her hand. "I'm so sorry they came after you."
Please, she waved dismissively with her good arm. I've survived worse than some rent-a-thug PI following me around, though the stroke was inconvenient timing. Still, I squeezed her hand. I never meant for anyone else to get hurt. That's the thing about justice, she said. It always has a cost. The trick is making sure it's worth it. My phone buzzed. Another news alert. Daryl's face filled the screen, being led into the federal courthouse. "They're saying 15 years minimum," I told her. "Edward took a plea deal. Mother's lawyers are still negotiating." "And how are you doing? Really?" I started to give my standard, "I'm fine" response, but Stella's knowing look stopped me. "I feel empty," I admitted. "Like I've been running on revenge for so long, I forgot who I am without it." "Good." She smiled at my surprise. "Empty means you can fill yourself up with something new, something better." A knock at the door interrupted us. Mia stood there, holding a thick envelope. "Sorry to interrupt," she said, "but you need to see this." Inside the envelope was a resignation letter, hers. "Mia, no." "Yes." She sat on the edge of Stella's bed. "I've learned everything I can from you, Ellie. It's time for me to build something of my own." "She's right," Stella chimed in. "Every good mentor knows when to let go." Another knock. Allison this time, carrying coffee and looking excited. "Dad's old partner called," she announced. "The one who retired to start that nonprofit. He wants to meet with us, both of us." "About what?" "About carrying on Dad's real legacy, helping small businesses protect themselves from corporate takeovers, teaching ethics and accountability." "Teaching?" I laughed. "Me? Why not?" Stella pushed herself up straighter. "You've got one hell of a case study to share." My phone buzzed again. A text from Janet. "Board approved the Employee Compensation Fund. You did good, Ellie. Now go heal." Heal. Such a simple word for such a complicated process. "I don't know how," I said quietly. "Yes, you do." Mia handed me a business card. "That's my therapist. She's expecting your call." "We all need help sometimes," Allison added. "Even badass corporate avengers." Stella reached for the water pitcher, but her hand shook. Without thinking, I poured her a glass. "See?" She took a sip. "You're already shifting from destruction to care. The rest will come. And if it doesn't, then you've got us," Mia said firmly. "Your real family." I looked around the room. At my sister, finally strong and clear-eyed. At Mia, ready to spread her wings. At Stella, my first mentor, still teaching me even from a hospital bed. Speaking of family, Allison pulled out her tablet. "Look what I found in Dad's old files." It was a letter, never sent, addressed to me. "Dear Ellie, remember what I taught you about business. It's not about winning or losing. It's about building something that lasts, something true." My vision blurred. Stella squeezed my hand again. "So," she said, "what are you going to build now?" I thought about Daryl's empty office, about all those employees standing and applauding, about Dad's letter and Allison's nonprofit idea. "Something true," I said, "something that lasts." The hospital room fell quiet again, but it was a different kind of quiet. Not the hollow silence of revenge accomplished, but the peaceful silence of new beginnings. Outside, the sun was setting over the city skyline. Tomorrow would bring federal interviews, asset negotiations, more headlines. But right now, in this room with my real family, I finally felt the weight of revenge lifting. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying what hurt you. It's about building something better from the wreckage, something true, something that lasts.